For the first time in a long time, and I mean long time, I fucking cried during a movie. So Ghostbusters Afterlife is the long awaited sequel to the original Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. And, some people bitched about it. Some people loved it. You know what? I thought it was fantastic. I mean, yes, it was definitely a nostalgia trip. There were Easter eggs to the original Ghostbusters absolutely everywhere. And I mean everywhere, from the stacked books inside Egon's, shitty farmhouse, to finally seeing his collection of molds, spores, and fungus, to the mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Mans, to the Demon Dogs, to Gozer. It was a big nostalgia trip. And that's okay. At least to me it was okay. I thought it was great paying homage to the original while also being a new story. Now you're probably saying, new story? It wasn't really a new story. Ivo Shandor was there. He was actually there, played by J.K. Simmons, of all people, which was kind of cool. And Gozer was there. She was the main villain again, but it caps off the storyline. It took what the original Ghostbusters did in 1984, and it built upon that story, and it expanded it. Paul Rudd, who is kind of out of nowhere, and the dumbest name ever, Gruberson, like, who came up with that? He's great in his role. Though to me, the absolute highlight in terms of new characters was McKenna Grace's Phoebe, who is unrecognizable in this movie, because you're used to seeing her with, long fucking blonde hair, and here she is with short, curly brown hair, glasses, and it's like, wait, that's McKenna Grace? But she was absolutely perfect in the role. She channeled Harold Ramis to a T. She was a Spangler, and you know what? It was perfect. And then there's the big climax when the original Ghostbusters show up, the surviving ones, seeing as we lost, unfortunately, Harold Ramis in, I want to say, 2014. But the theater I was in, as soon as Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, they showed up in the jumpsuits with the proton packs, the theater erupted in cheers. And that was just cool to be a part of. The original 1984 film is an absolute classic. The sequel, not so much. I mean, it's a decent movie, but nothing tops the first one. And it resonates with people, and it sticks with people. Like me, I wasn't quite born yet when the original Ghostbusters came out, but I grew up on it. And it is one of my all-time favorite movies. So yeah, I was there. I clapped when I saw them back in the costume, because it's something other than Dan Aykroyd, because he's always fucking talking about it, and Ernie Hudson, who shows up to conventions in costume. But to see Bill Murray back in costume, that was a moment, because it's something I, myself, and fans thought we'd never ever see again. But the moment that made me cry, oh my God, I don't want to say it, because if for some reason you haven't seen Afterlife yet, it spoils the ending. Absolutely spoils the ending, though I'm sure somewhere on the internet has already been horribly spoiled. But I myself am not going to spoil it if you're one of the maybe 30 people that watch this. And then we have the special effects. See, in 1984, CGI was still very much in its infancy, so a lot of the effects were practical. In Afterlife, it's a mix of both. We see actual costumes. There's some close-ups of the demon dogs, and you can tell it's a costume, or you can tell it's an animatronic, and that's okay. But then there's other times where you can tell it's CGI, and they blended it very well together. The streams from the proton packs, they looked great. They looked better than the fucking not Kevin Feige. Not Kevin Feige. Paul Feig. Feig? I don't know. Looked a lot better than his movie. Now, while we're kind of on that subject, the Paul Feig movie, which starred all-female Ghostbusters, it's not horrible. I don't hate on it like a lot of people do. My problem with the movie is that it did not have the heart, and the cast did not have the chemistry of the original movies did. Now, I love Kate McKinnon, Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy. I'm not a huge fan of Leslie Jones. You're probably saying, oh, you're a racist. Like, no, I'm just not a fan. She has her moments, but, you know, she's trying to be a modern day Chris Farley, where that her style, and Will Ferrell, and that her style of comedy is just loud and abrasive. And to me, that doesn't work for her. But anyway, the main points are that the movie just had no heart. And the cast had zero chemistry, which again, very weird. Afterlife was full of heart, full of emotion. The cast had chemistry. Anyway, if you are a fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, even the remake, because technically it is a part of the franchise, even if they completely ignore it, you should see this movie. Are you going to love it like I did? I don't know. All depends on your overall tastes for movies, for sequels. So it depends. I personally thought this movie was absolutely amazing. It was the sequel I feel that Ghostbusters fans have been waiting for this whole time. I give Ghostbusters Afterlife an A. Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.